Greetings and welcome to another video. My name's Axel.
I'm Sean.
And Halloween begins now. This is the first stop on our Halloween tour of 2024. It's bigger, better and bloodier than ever before. As you can see right behind us is the Museum of Horrors. We've been here quite a few times before. Last time it broke us, we tapped out and we are back for redemption to begin our tour. Are you ready, Sean?
Don't know. I hope so.
We'll see you on the other side. Let's go.
Yeah! Louder! He's going! Oh! He's going! In your fucking car! Go on! What for it? Oh, little Mr. Spam! Shout!
Look at the state of me. And this is us cleaned up as well. We have just put our clothes back on and come out of the Museum of Horrors. How long was we in there for, Sean?
Honestly, 2 hours, I think.
Just well, in the actual experience for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Just under 2 hours. And we spent most of that time in the basement, being tortured, mocked, abused. I can't think of any. Tortured
is the word.
Is the word for it.
But the only thing we can say is, did we get our name off the wall of shame? Yes, we did.
We did not tap out.
We did not tap out whatsoever, and they gave us the VIP treatment. An hour and a half of absolute brutality.
Yeah,
torment. But it was great. Murder House Productions, thank you so much. Museum of Horrors, thank you so much. It's absolutely throwing it down. I'm turning this off. Full review incoming. And so it is now 2 days later. We've had time to recover from what we endured for that hour and a half.
Endured is the right word. Endured is the right word.
So of course we have been to the Museum of Horrors 3 times before. The first time we went, we thought it was fantastic. It was the most extreme scare experience that we'd ever experienced. Yeah, it's exactly what we'd been looking for from extreme scare experiences. We went back for a second time and not much had changed, and so we wanted to see them up the ante. And so then we went back a third time and they definitely upped the ante, and that is where we said the dreaded game over words.
Oh my god.
I don't know what they're going to do next, but I don't want to find out. So I just game overed.
So we tapped out that third time, and so this time was our 4th time returning to the Museum of Horrors, and it feels like we were facing the final boss. It really does. It feels like a culmination of it all coming together, and it was the most extreme, brutal and torturous experience that I've ever, willingly participated in.
Yeah, willingly.
I'm lost for words. I'm shell-shocked right now. I'm on the Hall of Shame. I'm absolutely devastated. But best believe we'll be back and you will not defeat me next time. Yeah. We went back for redemption.
Yeah.
And redemption is exactly what we got, but it took a lot to get there. Believe you me, it really did.
Didn't feel like redemption. It felt like punishment for going back.
It did.
Illustrated by the fact that as soon as they opened the door, what's his name?
Yeah, Matt, the owner of Murder House Productions, did look at us and say, "Are you too stupid?"
Well, with the F word thrown in somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
There.
And the only thing we could say is, "I guess we are, mate. Yes, we are." And so we knew at that point we was certainly going to be in for a ride, weren't we, Sean?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, the other people in our group was going to be long gone whilst we were still going to be there, locked in that basement with all of the basement boys, completely putting us through our paces, testing our limits, pushing our boundaries. And, I say this before, I feel like it's a world of horror. You're in your own horror movie, but literally, it was like I was experiencing a horror movie in first person.
Yeah, it was as terrifying as it could be.
Really. And obviously, this review or most of our reviews mainly focus on the final scene, on the basement boys, because that's where it gets extreme.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to take away from the 3 rooms that lead up to that, because those 3 rooms do really up the ante every time, and the acting in there is just so on point. The Exorcist girl, I just want to give a massive shout out to you.
Yeah.
The Bob is fantastic, and the guy in there with him, and obviously the scene in the serial killer room. I don't want to say who it is, but the acting in there is just
fantastic.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, in the exactly the way it's supposed to be, though. You know, the acting in those 3 rooms are fantastic. They're tremendous at what they do.
Yeah,
and it really does. You know, even though it's the same scenes, they change up what happens in there each time, and because we are returning guests,
They take that personally.
Yeah, they do.
They're like, you want to come back, do you?
They do take that personally, and you know, it forces them to try out new things on us. I feel like, because obviously we are returning guests, and they still want that shock factor in there.
Yeah.
They still want that element of surprise in there, and you know, it is there. It is a surprise every time. It is.
So let's get straight to the meat of it. Let's get to the basement. So the basement is, well, it was very different for us this time. Normally, you go down to the basement and you're in there for 10, 15 minutes, depending on how much they get in and how quickly they get through it. Sometimes
how quickly you tap out.
Yeah. This time, however, there was absolutely none of that. They kept us in there for about an hour and 20 minutes, I would say. It was a ridiculous amount of time we were in there. We were in there so long that I was questioning whether or not they were ever going to let us leave at one point.
Yeah. You know it's serious when you're talking to yourself, contemplating, do I give up, do I not, when are we going to leave, what's going to happen next, like... It got serious.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they wanted us to give up, and they were throwing everything out of the book straight at us. And you know, you can see from the pictures on screen, you can see from the videos at the beginning of this how brutal and how extreme it was. But no matter what pictures you see, no matter what videos you see, no matter how much we tell you, it is never gonna be or do justice to what they do inside that museum. Never. You have to feel it. You have to experience it. You have to live it yourself to truly understand what we're talking about, to truly understand how it feels to be put in that situation where you're questioning your own mental capacities, you're questioning your own physical capacities, you're questioning how much more of this can I take? When is it going to stop?
Yeah. You're also questioning your life choices at that point. You're like, do I enjoy this? What's going on?
Yeah, do I? You don't know who's more sick at this point. Them for doing it to us, or us for putting ourselves through it. And this is the thing, you know, as extreme, as brutal as it is, safety is their number one priority. They do have a trained first aider on there for you, and that's, you know, everything's done in a controlled environment. If you followed our journey throughout this Museum of Horrors experience, from the first time we went to the last time we went, we've said this before, that safety is their number one priority. If you've just seen this video for the first ever time, then just know that, you know, no matter what you see on the pictures, no matter what the stories you hear, no matter how brutal that we tell you it is, it's all within a controlled and safe environment. And that's the great thing about it. But even still, when you know that, you know, it still doesn't take away any of the fear, because what they do to you in there, you will never have done to you in any other situation in life, even at any other Halloween event, even at any other horror event that you would ever attend. This wouldn't happen. It's unique, once in a lifetime experience. In our case, 4 times in a lifetime experience.
The last time.
The last time.
I tell you, right now.
I do feel like I've completed it now. Like, what they did to us for an hour and a half is now, we've completed it.
It was brutal. That's what Craig said anyway.
Without the legends of the museum, so, you know, I feel proud, strangely proud of that.
And if they can do anything worse to us, I really, 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 from the bottom of my heart, hope I never have to experience that. I hope that there is nothing worse that I could possibly ever go through in my life than that. Because if I do, then I will be being physically, brutally tortured, because that is exactly what happened to me. And if it was, honestly, I couldn't imagine it being any worse. Could you?
No, not at all. It's everything from you want from a live actor scare experience and more. They go above and beyond to give you that real life horror feeling, that real life horror. And
And push you.
And push you, yeah, of course they do. They push you exactly to the limit. To sum up the experience, I can only say that it was brutal, absurd, and truly terrifying. Placing you at the centre of your very own horror movie, this team is the epitome of Artaudian theatre, giving you theatre of cruelty in its most literal form. We were absolutely tormented, tortured, and put through our paces in what was an experience of a lifetime. We were left speechless and disturbed, yet amused and proud of ourselves. Murder House Productions and the Museum of Horrors create a game of survival that thrusts you way out of your comfort zone, pushing your boundaries and testing your mental and physical capacity in a world of horror like never before. And just when you think that they can't do any more, they take it one step further. You know, final closing statements for me is that the Museum of Horrors and Murder House Productions, I couldn't think of a better combination than the Museum of Horrors and Murder House Productions, because, you know, I don't know how they've come across each other, but it just works so well. You know, you've got that building, you're surrounded by so many real life props from horror movies, and then in there you are living an actual horror movie. And Murder House Productions don't just do the Museum of Horrors, they do so much more, and they're doing so much this Halloween as well. So make sure that you do get on their page, make sure that you do give them a follow, and if they are near you, or you can get to one of their events, then do go to it. It's not always extreme. Sometimes they do family friendly events as well. Sometimes they do, they're at Merlin's Bar in Birmingham as well, so that's something completely different for them. But they're always going to give you an experience that you're never going to forget. And the Museum of Horrors itself,
it's fantastic. It's one of the greatest horror collections I've ever been in. It's amazing to be surrounded by all of those props. I think they must clear some of them away a bit when they're doing all that stuff, because it gets so messy. But like, honestly, the building itself has a great feel to it. The owners are fantastic. They run great events. They do this, and they also have another museum which is all spooky stuff, and they run great events at that too. So honestly, 10 out of 10. Best horror experience of my life. Great way to kick off the Halloween season.
This is it.
You know?
I don't think anything's going to top it.
No, nothing's going to top it.
I mean, Museum of Horrors does run all year round,
Yeah.
which is great, but now it's spooky season.
Yeah.
We started it off with an absolute bang, the most extreme it can be. And coming up on the channel, we've got 3 places that we've already been to, just to give, and which is bringing new things to their events. So we want to check those out. We've got 3 things that we've never been to before, so it's going to be brand new on the channel. Can't wait to go to them. And of course, if you do want to see me this Halloween, then I will be in Spooky World to scare the living daylights out of you. So everybody, have a happy Halloween season. May all the frights come to you. And with that being said, my name's Axel.
I'm Sean.
And we'll see you on the other side.
Bye.